So the other day, after we'd done a podcast, myself and my friend Ian, we were having our usual post-podcast natter, and talk came round to kits that we liked back in the day and we wouldn't mind doing again, all right? And it led to us talking about the old Gigantics range back in the 1970s. And we had both had them, and we were talking about how they were re-released by AMT in the late 90s, all right? And I had said that back in the 70s, I had built the praying mantis one, and I can remember back in the 90s, I bought it again because I ended up using the mantis in a little diorama that I made of a Judge Dredd diorama with a small Judge Dredd figure being menaced by that mantis, which I've just repurposed. Okay, I think I made it bionic as well. But I also said to Ian that somewhere in my stash, I've got a unfinished rampaging scorpion diorama, and I said to Ian that I had painted it black, much like this one, as a nod to the film The Black Scorpion, all right? And so that was that, and almost immediately afterwards, after I said goodbye to Ian, I thought I wouldn't mind that praying mantis again, okay? So I went on eBay, and I found one, and this is it, still sealed, okay, for £25, right? Which I thought was a bargain. So I thought, okay, I'll finish off my scorpion and do the praying mantis as well, okay? So, as you can see, this is a very beat up box. It's been through a couple of house moves. And I've spilled paint or something on it at some point. And I thought, yeah, finish this one off and then do the praying mantis. But I've just opened it up, and if you know these kits, you'll know the deal. Basically, let's show you. What you've got is a 3D diorama. Ian was saying something about it was a way, back in the 70s, of repurposing model animals. They were never made to be gigantic like this. It was repurposing the models into these science fiction scenes, these mutated giant creatures, and that sure does explain. If you've made one of these, you'll know what I'm talking about. The terrible change in scale of everything. Nothing is quite in scale. All right, so the people aren't in scale with the cars. The people aren't really in scale with the buildings. That they're a real oddity, but they've got a lot of charm. All right, and I can demonstrate this here, but I can't demonstrate it with the scorpion because he's gone. I felt sure that when I lifted that up, the scorpion would be there. Look, he's not even hiding under the building. I don't know where he's gone. I've absolutely, in my bits boxes, I've never gone, oh, there's my scorpion, right? So I've got a box of stuff that I can't really use unless I use it in the praying mantis one. But I'll just show you these before we open the praying mantis one. So you've got a whole lot of very basically sculpted people. Now, look at the size of them, right? And then look at the size of them. The scale in the people is changing. Here's the building. Now, I think that the idea is it's meant to be some sort of forced perspective thing. And this is meant to be way, far away, And then I've got a car. I don't know what that was. And then, yeah, you've got this card backdrop. They're really nifty ones that built. They really are. But it's all out of scale. Yeah, instructions, railroad track, buildings on fire. But, so Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. What on earth do you do with that when you haven't got a scorpion? And that's, I haven't opened this box for what, 15 years or so. I just assumed the scorpion was still in there. Well, that's a mystery. All right, so let's go then. Very, very shiny. So let's stop the shininess immediately. Yeah, I'm surprised it went for what it did. So here we go. Let's open her up. Well, hopefully there's a praying mantis in this one. Nice sealed bag. I don't really remember the buildings for the praying mantis one. Oh, there's a bit of him. He is in there. Hooray. All right. I think what I'll do, let's have a quick look at the instructions. That's the... Now this is interesting. That's the same one as in my other box. There's only one card backdrop. I think all the way back then, I think that other box has got all the bits from my praying mantis are in that box as well. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I think I've doubled up then. Let's have a quick look at the instructions before I start opening bags. So that's how to assemble him. There's an awful lot to assemble of him. Yeah, and there we go. Isn't that building's in there? That bit is as well. Right, okay, I've got to come back. I'm going to come back when I've had a proper look and then investigate, and I'll also open those up and I'll show you just what's what. All right, so I've opened the box and these are all the bits you get. So up here you've got a lot of the mantis, and here, and here, and here. You've got a crushed car, just like so. People that can't possibly fit in that car. People who can't possibly fit in that train station, more bits of the mantis cars building. All right, so that's the praying mantis kit. And with those bits out the bag, I can see what and check what's in the scorpion box. And these are all praying mantis parts in the scorpion box. All right, so we've got the railway diorama board, we've got the railway station, bits of the railway station, and some of the people. The only bits that I've still got from the scorpion kit are some other people, that decal, that car, and the board. No building, no scorpion. So I think this build is a no-go. Well, all the parts are stuck together. I've forgotten just how poor 70s kits could be. There's an awful lot of seams still exposed that need filling in. There was an awful lot of flashing. Part fit was pretty abysmal, especially on the tail there. So got to do a bit of filling before I reach the priming stage on that chap. Yeah, and the other thing is you had to like stick the upper part of the leg halves together before sticking them in, and as I say, the part fit was pretty darn poor. So but he's assembled. Then it was on to doing all of this. It's very easy. You stick the train together. This was a bit of a faff working out just how that bit goes together. I don't know how I would have dealt with that back in the 70s when I first did it. I like cars and citizenry, paint colours of your choice. You have a separate railroad bumper, and then you've got the dock. This I'm not going to use. It's a railroad sign, obviously, and he's meant to have it in his left claw. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, assembly of the rest of it then. So that's the building. All right, which is nice and substantial. A very, very rudimentary train, dock, regular car, and crushed car, and then a sprue of people who cannot possibly fit in there. And I thought it was all forced perspective, but it's not. It's not at all. The background is, the cardboard painting is, but not all this lot. As I say, Ian said that the animal models are from a range of animal kits, and I've got a feeling these are from something. No, they can't be. They can't be from something else. Why else would you have a crushed car? I don't understand why you've got a difference in scale between the cars and the people, because these people were running for it, right? These are obviously made for this model diorama, and therefore the cars must be as well. But why the size difference? Unless they don't want to go smaller than 1/72nd scale. Maybe if they thought they went to 1/144th, maybe they'd be too tricky for people to paint. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if I'm going to use all these people. I'm going to spray them on the sprue, but as you can see, there's just the barest semblance of features on their faces. They're just blobs, really. And look at the flashing on those. So yeah, I've got to fill the mantis, spray everything in grey, then white, and then I will come back. So that's the gaps filled, and then he's been sprayed in grey primer, then white primer. So he's ready for contrast paints. I'm going to be using contrast paints on him, and I've got a very suitable one, which I'll show you shortly. Then what else have we got for you? We have the train, which I'm doing in a dull matte green. I don't want to detract from the mantis. I don't want anything too bright, but having said that, this is a 70s kit, so I figure the cars are in 70s colours. So we've got a yellow and a blue. Over here we've got the loading dock. I'm just using different browns to just vary things up a bit. And yeah, lastly, the building. And I'm cheating here because I don't like the idea of painting all these windows. So all I'm doing is I've got a fine line pen, a 0.1 fine line pen, and I'm just going in and just filling in the windows. All right, and this is good. This make uni pen fine line dries lovely and matte. I mean, it wouldn't matter if it was shiny, the windows. So that's the first step on this, is do all the windows before I move on to painting. So, oh yeah, and the other thing is, where are they? The people. I've started on the people, and what I'm doing is I'm just using contrast paints, you know, one coat of different colours. So I'm just cracking out different colours. My favourite so far is this fella, who's running along with his briefcase, with his tie flying, and he's kind of like, looks like he's either trying to hold his jacket or his shirt, stopping it from forcing open because of his big belly. So yeah, work is progressing. I'll come back with more colours added. So that's the mantis done in the very appropriately named contrast paint Mantis Warrior Green. I'm going to darken down the wings, darken down the eyes, do a bit of dry brushing around, but pretty happy with that, how that's come out. Just weathering the cars, and just to make this entire slog a lot easier, what I'm doing is I'm going to have white window frames and white brickwork above the windows, and this is going to be white, and the window sills are going to be white, right? So I've started, it's a bit sloppy, I've got to tidy it up, but what I'm doing is I'm putting in Blood Angels red contrast paint for the brickwork, and it's a slog, so I'm just going to do a bit at a time. All right, so I'll come back when that's done. I'm not too bothered about how sloppy some of the bits are going to be, because this is going to be heavily weathered. Almost there with the building, touching up to do here and there. I've used a contrast paint for the tiles, because again, the contrast paint does an awful lot of work for me. I'm cheating. All of the tops are going to stay white, as well as the frames. This window ledge and that window ledge are staying white, but you can see I've just blocked in grey the pavement or the sidewalk, depending where you are in the world, and then it's just all the browns. All right, so that's coming along. Got to start properly the dry brushing of the Mantis. I've picked out the eyes, and I've got a mottled kind of effect in there, which I quite like. I mean, I'm in an R in as to whether put a dot for the centre of the eye in or not. And yeah, I've just darkened down the wings. So not far off. I've still got the slog of doing the people. Oh yeah, the cars are pretty much done. So the endless slog of doing the figures continues. The building is now in its base colours, ready for some seriously heavy weathering and dirtying down, and almost done with the big chap. Decided to pick the eyes out dark, but instead of putting on black, that's actually contrast shyish purple, which has turned the green that's underneath not a total black. But I'm going to put some gloss varnish on them, so I'll come back when that bit's a bit dirtier. Well, there we have him. There he is, all put together, looking pretty good. These were great. These were so much fun back in the 70s. There wasn't anything else quite like them. And it is a terrific piece of 70s nostalgia, but, you know, with the more modern, more inverted commas, mature outlook on it, you can see so many problems. I mean, the figures are, you know, rudimentary at best. That's my favourite, by the way, that old lady, because look, she actually has a nose, whereas most of them don't. Yeah, look at the scale. There's no way this family could fit in that car. The scale is completely off. That bloke wouldn't be able to fit in that train. It isn't a case of forced perspective. It really isn't. It's just a hodgepodge of different models combined to create this. But look at it. It's fabulous. You know, I'm a big fan of the 50s B movies, like The Deadly Mantis, Tarantula, and what have you. This is a complete and utter throwback to them. I know 1/8 scale monster kits with bases are having a bit of a renaissance right now. I say, let's bring these fellas back.